Hey guys, welcome back to another lesson. Now today we are going to be talking about paid subscriber calls. So you have a subscriber, he obviously wants to get on a live video call with your model and is willing to pay for this. What is the best way? What do you price it at, etc, etc. So let's get straight into it. Now, a little bit of an overview. Obviously, having your model take calls with subscribers is great for two things. One, big increase in money. These are going to be really chunky tips. And secondly, it massively increases subscriber relations. You know, if you've got a really high payer and he's hopping on live video calls with your model, it's going to be really great. It's going to keep him coming back, and he's obviously going to be a high paying fan for a large amount of time. Of course, this is going to be massively dependent on whether your model is actually up for it. So do have the conversation with her and check if it's something she would be okay and comfortable with. Now, benefit number one, money. Obviously, if your model is going to be taking these calls, it's going to require a big tip. You know, you need to be pitching this at the most premium price points possible. So in terms of kind of the very bottom, $80 for 5 minutes, that's probably the lowest I would go personally. And just think about it, guys. You know, if your model does 5 of these calls a night, that's going to be an extra $400 a night, and that is going to equate to an extra $12,000 monthly. $80, the bare minimum. Usually you can charge $150 to $200 for these live calls. Now, little special tactic. I actually learned this off a good friend of mine, a creator called Alaska Clark, who is huge in the UK. Special tactic that she uses for live streams. Now, in terms of collecting the money, obviously the subscriber pays the money. He's paid the, let's say, $100 for the live stream. You then ask if he wants any extras. Now, the subscriber is going to say, what do you mean extras? I've just paid $100. And then you just inform him that obviously the $100 actually is just for the video call. If you're going to want the model to be naked or to be dirty talking you or anything like that, you're going to have to pay extra on top. Now, if you want to think about this in poker terms, by this point the guy is pot committed. He's put money in already. He's just going to put the extra money in and obviously fulfill that for the live, because you know he's got in his head what he wants. He's already put the money in. It's going to be a huge hassle if he's dissatisfied to do a charge back and all this bullshit. So usually they're just going to pay extra. So there's a really special little tactic you guys should be using in terms of how to actually extract as much money as possible from the subscriber. So that's a really interesting one to use, guys. Definitely try and implement that when you're taking the tip for the live call. Now, secondly, this is going to be obviously a relationship, you know, with your model taking calls. Obviously, it's a much higher level of interaction than just through text. You know, this is going to lead to increased sub retention and obviously a bigger likelihood that your subs will turn into whales. Now, if they buy a live call and they're speaking to the model, they're going to become addicted to it. It happens every time. They're going to believe in their heads that they're, you know, starting a bit of a relationship with this model. So that is going to be really important to keep them coming back and keep them paying large amounts. Probably one of my favorite elements is that you finally, and I mean finally, guys, have an answer to all of the fans who asked to meet. Now, I'm going to just take you through a really basic script of how you'd actually go about this and how you would keep these fans paying for longer and maximize as much value as possible from them. So, simply say, when a fan asks to meet, I'd only feel comfortable doing that if we get to know each other on a call. Now look, obviously your model is never going to meet them, but if you keep getting them to pay for calls, it gives them a little glimmer of hope they're going to keep coming back for a nice big fee every time. Wonderful stuff. They keep it coming back. They're obviously hoping they're going to meet her. They're paying for video calls, all just money into your pocket. Now, after multiple calls, they're going to keep asking to meet. Obviously, that's their kind of soul, their main aim, objective. And, you know, after calls, they're going to become a little bit aggravated that they haven't been given the chance to meet yet. They may very well get angry, swear at your model, etc. And now at this point, you do what we like to call the switch. Now, the switch essentially is going to be this. So you're going to reply back, hey, I don't know why you're getting angry at me. You know I've had quite a few things to sort out. You're genuinely the only person on this app I've been wanting to meet. But having seen you angry, I feel just, you know, too scared to meet you now. I feel too scared. Now, if the guy buys that straight away, great. Say that you need to speak to them on some more calls to build the trust up again. Boom, the cycle continues. You guys are making more money. Simple as that. Now, a lot of the guys would potentially think that you're lying, right? No worries. Now, they are going to go to bed that night, and in the back of their mind, they're going to think, what if I did have a chance and I messed it up, I get angry? And 99% of the time, they're going to come running back. So don't be worried if they, if after you say that, they continue to be angry, maybe they even unsubscribe. they'll always come back. It happens every single time. So there is essentially a little script for you guys to use for the fans that keep asking to meet in order to upsell them onto calls as much as possible. And obviously, if your model isn't comfortable doing subscriber calls, no worries at all. You can use this method literally just via messages. You need to speak to them more on the messages in order to build up that trust. When they get aggravated, do the switch. Simple as that, guys. Now, in terms of setting up a model subscriber call, the first step obviously is just to clear with your model what she's actually happy doing. So this is going to be anything from dirty talking to completely full explicit masturbation, everything. Just actually gauge with your model what she is happy doing on these calls. It's going to be varied with each time, and that's absolutely fine. People have different boundaries. And once again, make sure to actually find out what times the model is available. This is going to essentially denote when you're going to be selling these calls. So ideally a slot a couple of hours long in the evening, 9 to 11 p.m. That works really, really well. It doesn't have to be every single day of the week. Maybe just make sure she's available 3 or 4 days a week to take these calls, but as much as possible. And obviously, if there's the demand for it, then that's even better. So in terms of actually taking the call, a couple of options. You can use a burner phone, you can use Snapchat, you can use Instagram. Best platform by a mile to use is Instagram. So all you do, you get the guy to send a message to the account, and then obviously the video call is going to be conducted on Instagram video. So obviously make sure that you also have access to the Instagram just to ensure everything's running smoothly. You can also make sure the guy's not trying to buy content in the DMs as well, because as soon as they have this live call on Instagram, instantly in the subscriber's mind, they're thinking to themselves, oh, well, I can just speak to her on Instagram now. We've got that kind of relationship. And they're going to just try and buy content through the DMs. And if you're not logged into that Instagram, that's going to be money that's not on the OnlyFans account, and it's going to be money which is just going straight into the model's pocket, which obviously, isn't acceptable. So make sure you actually log in and that you can facilitate this. The subscriber needs to understand that they're still going to speak to you on OnlyFans. It's just Instagram is the platform that you are facilitating this call on. Now, a couple of things to make super, super clear with your model. Now, number one of the biggest ones here, the call will only last for the amount of time that the subscriber has paid for, and actually set a timer. So if it's 5 minutes, set a 5-minute timer. Once again, if the guy is being overly strange or aggressive, they should end the call just like that. That's not acceptable. Again, if the guy wants longer, he needs to tip to the OnlyFans account whilst on the call. So actually make sure the model has the page up so she can see if the guy actually does tip. So if he wants a little bit longer, you say that's fine, but you have to pay right now. There's no, I'll pay you back later, I'll pay you when we're done. None of that stuff. Just cut the call off. That's not how this works. You need to be super, super strict with this, and obviously make sure that your model knows to be super strict with this as well. Now, after the calls, as I said, subscribers are going to try and message on Instagram. Should never, ever be replied to. As always, the communication channel is always OnlyFans. No responses to any DMs that they send. Now, it's really, really important, and this links a little bit back to the previous video of the model chatter workflow. It's very, very important that your model and chatter have great communication when it comes to these calls. Make sure you have that WhatsApp chat set up, and obviously make sure that all the communication channels are working really effectively as well. If the chatter is on the account, a guy's after a call, he's paid, the model needs to be fulfilling that ideally same day, if not the next day. So just like with custom videos, you need to make sure that the chatter and the model are working in tandem to keep on top of it. So that is exactly how you most effectively use subscriber calls. Now, if you guys do this right, you can add a huge amount of revenue to your OnlyFans account. Even if you're just getting started, think about it this way. Let's say you take on an account, never made any money on there before, you're just looking to make the first few thousand in the first month. Think about it. If you sell 5 calls per week at $100 a call, that's instantly $2,000 a month that you've got there and then for very little work. So make sure that your chatter is just pushing the prices up of these calls as high as possible. Use the little cheat technique we discussed in terms of get them to pay for the call, then get them to pay for some extras in order to drive the price up, and you should be on for a really, really profitable time with subscriber calls. So yeah, that covers everything, and I will see you guys in the next video.